Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be checking out Yahaha Studio, and if you guys don't know what Yahaha Studio is, the best way to describe it is kind of just by showing you guys what it is and what it's capable of. Yahaha Studio is completely free to sign up and create your own account. It features a no-code environment, which I will show later on in the video. There are over 100,000 ready-to-use 3D assets that are from Yahaha Studio's built-in asset library. You can one-click publish without having to wait on building times, and developers with basically zero knowledge of how multiplayer networking works can create multiplayer games that will scale with however many players that play your game. And of course that means that you don't have to worry about any of the hosting costs, any of the server costs. All of that is handled by Yahaha. Now, I was trying to figure out what to make this video about, and so I thought, why not make this a fun video where I try to recreate my survival game inside of Yahaha Studio and kind of show you guys what this program is capable of. So once you download Yahaha Studio, you have basically this launcher. You have two main options. You can either create different spaces, or you can play other people's spaces. So if I go to play here, I can show you guys some of the different experiences, or I guess they're called spaces, that you can create. And what's unique is that all of this stuff is user created. So anyone can basically download this program and just start creating whatever you like. And you don't have to have any sort of programming experience. It's really easy to get started. And I'm going to show you guys how you can program logic inside of Yahaha Studio. It's a no-code system, so it's kind of similar to Blueprint. But yeah, as you can see here, there's a bunch of different games or spaces that you can play and test out. If you click on the create button, you can create your own spaces. So if I click on the space here, you can see we can create a space. Over here on the templates, these are all the templates that you can pick from. So there's quite a bit of different templates to choose from, and they all have all of these assets here included. Now, one unique thing that Yahaha Studio features, and I'll show you more of this later as we get on in the video, is that they have a built-in asset marketplace, but you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to buy the actual assets. You just choose from the asset library and you can download whatever asset you want. And you can also import 3D assets from your computer. So if you have a model that you downloaded from Sketchfab, or say you modeled yourself in Blender, you can import it into this program. So like I said in this video, I wanted to make it a fun video and try and recreate my survival game. So I'm going to go ahead and choose from the template, this summer beach template. So as soon as you select the template, it's going to go ahead and load it up. And then you're going to see it's going to kind of give you the tutorial on how to use it. Now, it's actually really easy to get the hang of Yahaha Studio and all the controls. You have your WASD to move and your right mouse button to look around. You'll notice that as I hover over various objects in the viewport, my cursor will highlight, this tree or rock, and you can see the box around these different objects. So I can select different objects and I can click on my move tool here. So you see down here at the bottom, we have our move, rotate, and scale. And I can also change the handle rotation. So if I don't want it to be local, I can change this to global. But as you can see, it's very easy. You can change the manipulation tools. We got rotate objects around, and we have scale. We can scale things up, and it feels pretty natural in moving things around in your scene. Now, we do have a terrain editor. You can sculpt part of the terrain. So as you can see, this map is kind of like this survival island. So that's kind of what I'm going for. This is going to be like the main island that our player will spawn at. So you can kind of sculpt things. I might need to adjust the strength here. So maybe you want to sculpt like a land bridge or something between the water. And then you can change your brush type. Looks like they have a mountain. So that kind of looks cool. Kind of looks like some sand dunes over here. Add some more sand dunes over here. But yeah, you guys get the idea. You can choose various different brushes and sculpt your terrain. Maybe we'll choose like a different sand and we'll paint it here on our sand dune. Okay, so this will be like our desert biome over here. And maybe in the north part of the map, we'll make it more mountainous. Okay, so we'll add a mountain right there. And maybe we'll add another one right here. And choose like this rock base tile. We can go ahead and paint these mountains. I think also I might paint the ground with some leaves. And then I'll paint some snow on the very top of the mountains. Yeah, I think that looks pretty decent. So, but yeah, you guys get the idea. You can decorate and sculpt things on your landscape. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good for now. We have a forest, some mountains, this desert biome, and then we have sort of our tropical area over here. Now I kind of want to show you guys how you would set up gameplay and how the no-code programming system works in here. So to first get into that, let's actually start by making our rocks and everything in our scene harvestable. So what I mean by that is when our player spawns in, we can chop down a tree or a rock and gather sort of the resources. So to set up any sort of gameplay or logic, you just select whatever object in your scene, and then over here on the top right you have a more button. So if you click on this button, you have your scene settings. You can adjust like the transform, collision, all that stuff. But over here on this other tab we have gameplay. So this is where you can add various gameplay components. And so if we click the plus button here, you can see all of the different presetted components for gameplay. So for example, you have a character, monster component. You have all these different gameplay components. So if you need like a rotating object, you need some move logic, or if you want the object to drop a specific item, if you want it to have a quest. Now I've kind of messed around with this before, so I already know that I want this monster component. Because it already comes with a health system, and this is what we want to allow our player to harvest all these resources. So I'm going to click on that component. Now you can select the various components in here and remove them. So I don't need this NPC component. This is like showing the name above the NPC. In this case, this is just a rock, so we're just going to delete that. We don't need any sort of behavior. We can go ahead and delete that. Now, all we really want is this attack. It defines the amount of health that this object has, and it doesn't have any sort of attack back because it's a static object. Let me just decrease the life down to 5, and then I want to add another component. We want to add an item drop. So the item drop, we can define basically the condition on which this item will drop. So if you click this drop down here, we have on start, and what we want to choose is insufficient health. Basically what that means is when our life reaches 0, we'll go ahead and drop this item. Down here on the drop settings, I want to go ahead and click a new item, and you can select your item from here. Now we actually don't have any items set up, so what we want to go ahead and do is go ahead and create ourselves an item. So if we go into the gameplay tab here at the top, you're going to see a bunch of different tabs here. Now it's very simple. We have a general tab. This is where you can choose like your game type. In our avatar, you have various things like the walk, run animation, jump, and attack. And then over here are the items. So this is where we want to go ahead and add our new item. Now currently we don't have any models. So if we were to click on new item, it wants us to add a model. So we don't have a model right now. So what we're going to do is go to the asset library. So up here at the top right, we have the asset library. And this is where you can get all sorts of free 3D models to use for your scene or for your game. So you can see there's loads of different options to choose from. So you can see we have various different buildings, cars, characters, weapons, all sorts of 3D models. And you're not limited to all the models in here. Like I said before, you can import your own models if you have your own custom models. Now what I want to look for is a rock or some stone. This is basically going to be like a pickup. So I'll get this little rock model. Doesn't have to be super fancy. We can go ahead and click add to assets, and then we'll go ahead and download that. So if we now go into our gameplay here and click add a new item, and now we can select add a model. So we have this rock here that I downloaded. We can select that model. So now we have the actual asset for our item. We can go ahead and change the name to rock. You can set like the stack size, so however many items you want in a stack. Description, a resource used to craft various items. So now we've added our very first item. We can go back to our stone here. So all you have to do is select down here under the item, select the rock, and you can increase a count. Maybe I'll say this will drop 3 stone. So now we should be able to test this out. So if you hit this play button here at the top right, it will go ahead and allow you to play test your scene. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you spawn in. So we can run around. Our character has the locomotion set up, all the animations, all that stuff. Now we can go ahead and run up to this rock, and when we punch it, basically harvest the resources. And then we can collect the various items here, and it looks like it just respawned. But in our inventory, you can see we have 3 of the rock resource, a resource to use to craft various items. So you could do this to all the different objects in the level and very easily add a harvesting system. Now what I want to show you guys next is how you could add various NPCs and mobs into the game. If we go over to the asset library here, you can search for zombie. Really, there's a bunch of other character models to pick from, but I'm just going to choose this basic zombie character. So now I can go into my assets, into my model, go ahead and download this, and drag this zombie model out here into the game. Now, a cool thing about Yahaha Studio is that you don't have to animate anything, and you don't have to worry about the animations. So what I mean by this is you can drag in any character model, and it'll automatically rig and animate just by adding some components. So if we go into the gameplay component and add a new component, what we want to add is this monster preset. So you can see it comes with the NPC component, the behavior, and attack. So if I have that selected there, it adds all of these components already. Basically, we can rename the NPC. This is our NPC's name. So we can name this to zombie. And behavior, what we can do is we can add a simple patrol. So it will walk around on the map, and we can have it roam around. And of course, you could adjust the life and the attack. So it has 100 HP, 1 attack. Maybe I'll up this to like 30 attack. And then attack mode, you can set this to fight back or active attack. If we select active attack, this is like if a player gets close enough to the zombie, it will automatically aggro onto you, whereas fight back is like neutral. It will only attack you if you're attacking it. Then of course the resurrection, this is how long it takes for it to respawn. You can do like 300 seconds. And then you can take this, Control C, Control V, and copy this, and just add a couple more of these zombies right over here. Now if we go ahead and playtest this, you can see the zombies are roaming around, and they're doing that patrol logic that's already built in. Let's see if we can aggro one of these. If we just run up, see it has a name. Okay, so right now it's a little bit slow following our character, but we can go ahead and tweak that. But as you can see, the zombie will run up to us and try to attack us and do damage to our character. And I can go ahead and one-shot the zombie because I have my melee upgraded all the way. You guys can see just how really quickly we can take a 3D model from the asset library, add some behavior components, tweak the values, and we already have the gameplay logic. Okay, so I want to change the speed, maybe 4 meters a second. Okay, so now we have a faster moving character, so you can see the zombies running at us, attacking us. Now it's more of like a swarm. And of course you could make it so that when you kill the zombies, they drop various items and loot. Now one last thing that I wanted to show you guys is the questing system that's built in. So if I go ahead and add another character, I'm going to choose this merchant model. This guy can be like our NPC that will give us various quests. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to my assets. And if we go ahead and drop this guy down here, in the gameplay tab we can add a component. And all we really want to add is some NPC behavior. So we can go ahead and add a behavior component, add a simple patrol where the NPC will walk around. We'll also add a character component right here, and this will be like the NPC's name. So we can go name this Bob. You can really name the NPCs however you want. Then we want to add a quest component. So if we click quest right here, we can select the quest that we want to add. Now, what we want to add before we go ahead and select our quests is we actually want to go ahead and create the quest. So if you click on the gameplay tab, we have a quest tab right here. And so you can add your various quests. So I'm going to add a new quest, and this is going to be, the quest name is going to be Eliminate Zombies. It'll be a monster kill. And the quest sketch, basically all the zombies on the island. And now you can select the target. So in this case, you can select the zombies. And for the reward, you can add a reward. I don't really have a reward item, so I guess I'll just use this wood for now. But typically, you could add your own custom item reward, or maybe some sort of coins, and add that as a reward for killing the monsters. Okay, so now that we have our quest here, we can also add a dialogue. So this is what you'd use to add some sort of dialogue that your character can have when interacting with the NPC. So I click new dialogue here, name this dialogue. I'm going to name this zombie quest. And so here's the NPC. We can enter the text. Hello, fellow traveler. I have a quest for you. And then you can add another sentence here, change it to the player. What is a quest? And you can very easily add your own dialogue to your NPC. Okay, so now that we have our dialogue and quest set up, if we go back into our NPC here, I can select the quest Eliminate Zombies, and I could select the dialogue zombie quest. So now we can go ahead and play test this, and you can see the NPC is wandering around. So if I run up to him, you can see his name above his head. He has this little icon above his head, signifying that he has, a quest. And we can go ahead and select the dialogue here. You can say Eliminate Zombies. Hello, fellow traveler. We can go ahead and click through this. I have a quest for you. What is a quest? Please kill the zombies on the island. I will reward you with gold. Sounds good. And so now that we've accepted the quest, we have this in our quest tracker, and we can eliminate one of the zombies here. And you can see we acquired wood. So typically you could have something else be the quest reward, like a gold item or whatever item you choose to add. Now, once you're done with creating either your scene or your game, once you exit out of your scene here, you just click save to save your changes. And then back here in the launcher, you have two different options on your space that you created. You can either edit it to reopen it and pull up the editor, or you can go ahead and publish it and share it with your friends, or publish it for everyone else to play and test it out. But yeah, as you guys can see, it's really easy to add functionality and to create various things inside of Yahaha Studio. I think that the way they have set up the gameplay components is very modular and user-friendly, easy to set up, and you can quickly get the results that you want for whatever game or scene or whatever you're making inside of Yahaha Studio. Now, real quickly, I wanted to show you guys how you can find and play some of the other different games on Yahaha Studio. So if you go to the Play tab here on the launcher, we're actually going to play this Laser Matrix. So you just have to click play to launch the actual game. As you can see, it's really fast on launching the actual game instance. So now here we are in, I guess, like this lobby. And basically this is like a party game. And as you can see, it's waiting for about 6 members. But after the timer runs out, it'll start the game. And our character will spawn here in the arena. So here we are. We're in this little arena, and basically we have to avoid the lasers. I think you have about 5 different lives, so there are different lasers that spawn in, and it's basically just a fun party game that you can play with your friends where you have to avoid the lasers. So this is really interesting because you can create various different multiplayer games, party games, and all sorts of stuff. So as you can see, I just got hit by the laser. My health is getting pretty low. I'll show you what happens when you die. Get respawning, and it says dodge the lasers. You will die for good after 5 laser attacks. Basically, when your health hits to 0, you're out of the game, and the game will continue with however many players are left. So just a pretty cool game that you can make, showing off all of the features of the gameplay component system. Another one I want to show off real quick here is this Ground Zero. Basically, this is kind of like a story game that this user has created, and you can play it either single player or multiplayer. Okay, so you spawn in, and immediately you have, two different options here. You can either create a party or you can join someone else's party. I'm just going to play this single player for now, but basically kind of spawn in this post-apocalyptic world, and you have all these NPCs that you can talk to, much like what I showed how you can set up your own dialogue system. So if we go and talk to this NPC, we can go to the introductions. You are finally awake. Report to the commander ASAP. Where is the commander? He's at the tent at the top of the market. You can get there from behind the building. One more thing, do not venture deep into the city just yet. It is too dangerous without supplies. So if we run out here, this is like a post-apocalyptic world. You can see the city over there, and kind of have like these fences put up, these tents. I think we're supposed to find the commander. That's our current quest. So we have to run behind this building and up the stairs. I think he's in this tent over here. We can initiate the dialogue with him. I heard you want to explore the city limits. And so I guess he needs a supply runner. And so we need to go ahead and look for some supply crates in the city. Ask more from Rhino if you're unsure. You can find him here next to my tent. There's Rhino right there. We can go ahead and talk to this NPC. And we have a quest here. You can see it with the icon. You are my supply runner. I will give you 1 med kit with you, but no weapons. Okay, around the city, I need 3 supply boxes. You may keep everything else in the drop. So we have the quest here in the top right. Find the supply crates, 0 out of 3. So pretty cool that they have all the quests and dialogue set up, just kind of showcasing what you can create with all the different components, creating various NPCs, giving them dialogue, and creating different quests where you find certain items or eliminate other NPCs or whatnot. So we're just running around this city, and we're supposed to find these supply crates, and I guess they're these lost soul NPCs that will try and attack you. Okay, there's a couple right there. And here I think is a supply crate. So if we go next to this, I think I have to punch it. I'm not entirely sure. And in my inventory, I actually have this first aid kit. So it's a consumption type item. Heal yourself for 30%. We'll go ahead and use that. And you can see it healed my player up. But yeah, you guys get the idea. You can create basically story-driven game where the player has to roam some sort of map, collect various items. But in this particular game, they have the full dialogue system and quest system set up. And I think this is a really good game that showcases all of the assets, all the free assets. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I just wanted to remake part of my survival game inside of Yahaha Studio and kind of show you how easy it is to create using the various tools that this program has to offer. And if you guys are interested, I'll leave a link in the description where you guys can also download Yahaha Studio for free. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.